Can Lamelo Ball be a top 5 player in the NBA one day? Let's get into this. Quickly before we get the video started, if you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more NBA content just like this one, please hit that subscribe button and that post notification bell. Anyways, back to the video. After an absolutely fantastic high school campaign for Lamelo Ball, instead of taking the traditional route and going to a college and playing 1 year at college and getting drafted to the NBA, Lamelo Ball took a different route where he actually took a year in Lithuania and played professionally over there. Then he played professionally in Australia, and in between that time he played in the JBA, his own created league. So it was definitely a non-traditional route, but at the end of the day, he was drafted to the NBA by the Hornets number 3 overall. So it's definitely a success story for LaMelo and shows the talent that he has. And after LaMelo Ball actually got drafted so high, number 3 overall, there were a ton of haters saying that he wasn't worth that. His skill set didn't match a player that would be drafted number 3 overall. But of course, LaMelo Ball completely proved everybody wrong by his play during the regular season for the Hornets. He played so well, he showed so many different aspects of his game that did translate very well to the NBA, which I'll get into more in detail later. But also, LaMelo Ball was actually able to win Rookie of the Year this previous season, and that definitely silenced all the haters that were saying he wasn't worth that number 3 overall pick. But not only did LaMelo Ball win the Rookie of the Year award, he actually won it pretty easily in my opinion. And the reason that I say that is because before LaMelo Ball actually got hurt and injured for a while, he was definitely leading in Rookie of the Year voting by far. And the only reason why I personally think it was a close race at the end was, first of all, Anthony Edwards completely came on in the second half of the season, so fair play to him. He definitely improved his game significantly to tighten it up. But also, I think the main reason was because LaMelo Ball was actually injured for a decent amount of time, and I think that's what made it close. But I think if LaMelo never got injured for that decent amount of time, and he just continued to play throughout the entire season, I think he would have won it in a landslide, and he would have won the Rookie of the Year award easily. But the only reason that I'm talking about this is just to show the type of player LaMelo Ball is, because this draft class was definitely not a terrible draft class. It was a really, really good draft class, and the fact that LaMelo was actually able to win Rookie of the Year pretty easily just shows you the type of player this guy is currently and could be going forward. But let's quickly talk about LaMelo Ball and what he could actually do on the NBA court and what makes him so special in my opinion. Let's first start talking about LaMelo's 3-point shooting ability. So before LaMelo even got drafted and he was in the draft combine and in the draft process, the biggest concerns NBA scouts had with LaMelo was his 3-point shooting ability. Actually, in Australia, he shot an atrocious 19% from that 3-point range, so that was a very, very big concern for a lot of NBA teams going into the draft, because if LaMelo wasn't able to hit his threes whatsoever, it would really affect basically every other part of his game, and that was the biggest concern. But in my personal opinion, the reason why I thought LaMelo was actually shooting a terrible percentage in 19% from 3 in Australia was just due to shot selection. I think he just had too much confidence because he was definitely better than any other player in that league, and he was just putting up some crazy shots that he otherwise wouldn't have put up in the NBA. And that theory has been proven to be true, because ever since he got to the NBA, he definitely proved that he's a very capable 3-point shooter. Even in the NBA, there definitely are a few games where LaMelo Ball just puts up a crazy bad 3-point shot, and you kind of just have to shake your head as a fan watching. But at the end of the day, you gotta love his confidence, and on top of that, overall, when you look at the entire season that LaMelo played, he definitely cleaned up his 3-point shooting selection a lot better than it was in Australia. But now let's quickly talk about Melo's mid-range shooting ability. So Melo could definitely hit mid-range shots, but that's not a big portion of his game. He's not a guy that's really gonna pull up from that mid-range area or do post turnaround fadeaways. He's not really that guy. He has shot a few mid-range shots, of course, but it's not really a main part of his game. The main part of it, his mid-range ability, I would say personally, is his floaters, if you consider that mid-range. He definitely puts up a very good amount of floaters and is pretty effective at it, either in the pick and roll or just driving right by his defender. But now getting into LaMelo Ball's finishing ability, this is definitely something he's very good at, either coming off the pick and roll or just blowing by his defender. When LaMelo Ball gets in the paint, he's very difficult to stop. LaMelo is sneaky athletic, so he definitely could posterize some people, but that's not necessarily what he mainly does when he gets to the basket. When LaMelo gets to the basket, what he mostly uses is his crafty layup packages. He has some crazy layups where he hangs in the air for a very long period of time, and he could just stay in the air longer than his defender can and just puts up these very crafty layups around them, and that's mainly his bread and butter when he gets to the basket, and that's a main reason why he's so good at finishing when he gets to the basket. But LaMelo Ball's main ability and the reason why he was drafted number 3 overall is his playmaking and passing ability. Personally, for me, the first thing I think of when I think of LaMelo Ball, and I think most people are like this as well, is definitely his playmaking and passing ability. We've seen so many highlights of LaMelo throwing crazy passes, either cross court, behind the back, behind the head, LaMelo's just always going to find that wide open teammate. And the great thing about LaMelo is he actually uses his arm length very effectively to create very unique arm angles where you don't think that you can really get a pass through, but LaMelo makes it work and gets the wide open teammate. But the main reason, in my opinion, why LaMelo is such a great passer in this league is an ability very few players have, and that's the ability to see plays before they happen. Players like Chris Paul, LeBron James, very few players have this ability, but Lamelo Ball is definitely one of those guys that do. And if you're able to see plays before they happen, you can throw the ball to that advanced spot before your teammate even gets there, and then when he gets to that spot, he has a wide open dunk or maybe a wide open 3-point shot. It just makes their lives so much easier, and I think that's what makes LaMelo such a magician in terms of his playmaking and passing ability. But the thing about a guy who's a great passer, and especially if that guy's your best player on your team, that just elevates everybody else on your team and it promotes winning. And that's the biggest thing with LaMelo. He definitely puts up great numbers, and that's definitely why he won Rookie of the Year this previous season. But the thing about his ability and actually what he does in his style of play is it promotes winning, and I think that's the biggest thing out of all these other young players. I'm not saying all of them don't, but there's definitely a few guys out there that put up great numbers, but they don't necessarily help out their teammates. Maybe they're too young at this point and they'll eventually grow into that. But the thing about LaMelo is he's definitely not that player, and he definitely promotes winning and always makes his teammates better, which I love. But now let's get to the question of the video, which is, could LaMelo actually be a top 5 player in the NBA one day? So obviously, to become a top 5 player in the NBA, it's very, very difficult, and it's definitely a step above just being a superstar in this league. So for LaMelo, obviously he's going to need to improve basically every aspect of his game, but the one part of his game that I think he wouldn't necessarily need to upgrade at all is his passing and playmaking ability. I just think he's that good at this point. But with that being said, I do think that he will get better in that aspect as the years go on. But the main part that I think LaMelo does really need to improve on to become a top 5 player in the league is definitely his scoring ability. At this point, LaMelo's definitely a good scorer in this league, but he's not a great scorer, not an elite scorer. So I think over the years, he's definitely going to need to refine that if he does want to become a top 5 player in this league. And if he does become a very elite scorer alongside with his very elite passing and playmaking ability, I definitely do think it's possible from LaMelo Ball. But the biggest thing is he's really going to have to work on that scoring ability going forward. Now, of course, also on the defensive side of the ball, he struggles a little bit, so he definitely could look to improve upon that. But you don't necessarily need to be a decent or good defender to become a elite player in this league and a top 5 player. We've seen other guys in the league that definitely were top 5 players in the league, but just were not good on the defensive side of the ball, specifically James Harden before he did improve his defensive abilities. But the big part for me would just be his scoring ability and really transition from a okay to good scorer into elite scorer. And at that point, I think LaMelo definitely could become a top 5 player in the league one day. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think LaMelo eventually could become a top 5 player in the NBA, or do you not think so? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe and hit that post notification bell. It really helps me out a lot. Until the next time, peace out, guys.